The Room. My name is Dale, and I'm 34 years old. I've always been a geek, even in high school, but I've grown a spine at some point, so I can now defend myself. I started doing karate to help me manage my rage and fury, as it helped me feel more at ease with myself. Because I consistently received good score in chemistry, I was hired as a chemist for dentists, and occasionally certain specialty for the government. I enjoy a few non-work related interests that allow me to disconnect and take a step back when necessary. I really adored Shirley, the attractive girl I met right out of high school, until I went to visit my friend at the electronics store he owns. At the time, Shirley gave off the impression of being a goddess, but now she has the appearance of the girl next door. Hey there, Jimmy. I'm helping the kid next door out with a school project. Ever since his old man cutout, we've struck up a friendship of sorts. Jimmy looked at him with a scowl. This isn't another volcano thing you guys are working on, is it? The last time I sold you stuff for that, I heard the gym about caught on fire. We both burst out laughing when I said, when you make the mountain come to life, you never do anything below par on that. While acting insulted. No, nothing like that. He wants to do an earthquake kind of thing. I know where you keep the stuff I need. But I think if we put some small cameras inside, he can show how it works below ground as well as on top. So show me what you got and I'll be right back. After selecting the items I needed and a few I didn't, I made my way back to the counter. Okay, Jim, show me what you got. They run on those little hearing aid batteries, but the picture they take is out of this world for both sharp, clear pictures, and you can set it up for panoramic shots as well. The best thing is they can record the video for 72 hours before you need to change the battery. The wire out the back sends it to any monitor, TV screen, or computer with no problems. The device looked like a small cone with a wire hanging out on the small end. It was half an inch long in total length. Tell me what I'll do. I will throw in a 5-pack of the video pens we just got in. We haven't tried them out yet, so you'll be our test dummy. What do you think? He said, practically audibly shifting gears inside my skull. I held out my hand and said, you got a deal. You drive a hard bargain. He demonstrated for me how to turn on both the cameras. After putting everything in a box, I left to brighten Brian's day. It was a few hours before Shirley arrived home. After spending some time experimenting with the cameras and connecting them to my computer as per the instruction, I spent the next 30 minutes experimenting with the zoom and lens to see how the video turned out. I'll admit it now, after placing one on top of my dresser, I spent a minute jumping up and down on the bed. After that, I arranged the remaining items on the dresser's end so that Brian and I could place them in his project. Brian and I could only complete it on a Saturday afternoon, so it was Thursday. I went downstairs to make dinner after leaving everything there. An hour later, Shirley arrived. She didn't appear to be in a good mood. As I was tending to the fish on the stove, she said, you cooked dinner, bless you, and planted a kiss on my cheek. I'll take a shower and be back down to help. Sounds like somebody had a bad day. I responded, can we talk about it after dinner? I just want to get a shower and relax with a glass of wine, she said. She smiled and kissed me, saying, well, hurry up. I will be done soon and cold salmon doesn't taste good. I had the salmon plated by the time she got back up. I was on the phone with the plant CEO when I got a call from work. I turned to Shirley and gave her the I can't get out of it face. Come on, Jerry, you know I only get to have a half-day Saturday and all-day Sunday off. Why don't you call Terry or Jeff to cover the demo? They know as much as I do about it, they'll do just fine. I then hung up the phone. I'm putting out feelers for another job because, although we've known Jerry and Samantha for almost 8 years, I'm tired of him pulling this crap all the time. Well, it looks like us going out for dinner on Saturday night isn't happening. We have a demonstration for a government group, and Jerry made it clear that he wants me to take the lead on it. Damn, it's so simple that Ernie the janitor could do it with no problems. He keeps me on call and lets the other guys slide. You can't do that, honey. Nobody will pay you as much as Jerry does, Shirley said. Furthermore, who would permit you to pursue your interests during business hours? Dale, darling, let me give Samantha a call to see if she can talk him down from you. Just don't do anything insane until we speak, please. I suppose so, but don't drag this out too long or I'll simply give up and leave him. I wanted to call the guys the next morning and tell them to finish up all the old projects because I wanted us to try something different. After I dried off from my shower and picked up the house phone, I received the shock of my life. I was so enraged at the time that I didn't understand how she knew that I worked on some of my projects at work. She said, in a year or two when he gets his big promotion, I'll take him to the cleaners in the divorce. Then a couple of months later you can get that Samantha to the curb. Then we can have her gone, then we're home free. With what he knows about chemistry and understands how to mix them safely, he won't have any problem getting a better job. He'll be here all the time and that will stop our little get-togethers because we can't have them with him here. I should have had him finished instead of telling you about the plan. You blew it up into something out of a novel. We would already have the money coming in from his patents and living on a beach in Aruba. But you wanted it all before leaving. I just wanted you. He's so smart but so dumb. If he hasn't caught us in the past 4 years, he never will. I want to throw up when I have to play the friend act with him. Dear, it isn't true. When he departs for work on Saturday, I'll show you how much. Honey, you're going to be late, so hurry it up, she called up the stairs. He's due to tromp down the stairs expecting me to have his breakfast ready. Just keep thinking Saturday. She then hung up. After giving myself a good shake and putting the receiver down gently in my hand, I went downstairs to finish getting dressed. She placed 2 eggs, 2 slices of bread, and a few pre-cooked sausage links on a plate in front of my chair. She also filled a mug with coffee and placed it next to the plate. Thank you, I'm not hungry anymore. I grabbed my briefcase and made my way out the door. Baby, how about my kiss? She was looking at me bewildered. Don't ask me how, but I got into the car and a second later, I was pulling into my parking spot at work. I saw Jerry, who was holding his hand up to the phone so no one could hear and kept looking at me, looking like someone trying to figure out a problem. She was hurrying around the table towards the door, and as she got there, she pursed her lips. I'm running late, I said, pulling the door closed. Jerry stopped by my office about 11 and said, how are things doing, Dale? It appears that you are thinking about something. Is there anything I can do to help you, buddy? I just left him standing there as I got up from my chair and walked right by him before heading into my office and said, I'm working. I have to check on a few things. I then located our processing manager and said, hey Reggie, your son-in-law is still a PI. He looked me in the eye and said, yeah, he's still working at it, hoping he'll get a good case so he can play in the major leagues. He jotted down his address and said, I'll give him a call and let him know you're coming. Anything else? No, my friend. I'm just making sure everything is in its right order in case I need it. I offered him a shoulder tap before turning to leave. Keep your head down when it gets nasty here. I leaned in closer. We'd been friends since the 7th grade, so Reggie knew I never did anything half-baked and that something significant was about to happen here. I told my secretary that I could be a little late returning from lunch, and I walked back up to my office to get my jacket. You never take a long lunch, you always come back 10 minutes early, I said to her. Tell it how it is, Dale. You already know that I love and support you. I can give you 2 things to consider, Lisa, but this isn't the time to chat. How much do you value your work here, first of all? The second is, do you have the guts to leave here with nothing but yourself and the assurance that you'll find someone soon after? I leaned closer and said, I've got your back too, but I'm worried that you could be declared guilty by association because of the impending storm. Please consider it and respond to me by the end of the day. Knowing she was staring at me thoughtfully, I left for lunch. I first drove to the bank and prepared everything. It was helpful because Skylar had a kid, who I had also assisted and with whom I forged a close friendship. I went to a friend's suggested divorce attorney, and I spent the first half hour explaining my goals to him, which took 10 minutes. He spent the next 20 minutes giving him advice on how to make better beer, and his office wall was covered in images of him brewing. My final action was to visit HR to provide them information about my new account, how much to send my investment consultant, and how my retirement would be allocated to the appropriate accounts. When everything was taken care of, I hurried across the street and ordered 2 sandwiches with fries and a few sodas. I then rode the elevator to my office, where I ordered a ham and cheese sandwich with extra mayo and fries and said to Lisa I would let that settle down a minute before opening it. I then went inside and prepared to eat my roast beef sandwich, which had extra sauce and extra cheese, along with fries and a side cup of mayo. Entering my office, Jerry concentrated on a few pieces of paperwork before yapping at me about what he needed done to correct an error that was most likely his own. With my mouth full of food, I muttered, eating my lunch if you want to know. Are you finishing your lunch? He inquired. Yes, I knew that everyone had an advantage knowing that it's the meal between breakfast and dinner. It won't be the last time I'm proven incorrect, I suppose. After taking another piece, I noticed Lisa approaching my office doorway, trying to contain her laughter with her hand over her mouth, and then turning back to her desk. They have a chemical spill, and the board wants our finest man to be on the cleanup crew. I need you to drive. You are expected to return by early Tuesday evening, but you will need to depart on Friday night. He can now spew the story quite well. They've already arranged for you to have a place to sleep, and they've kept your receipts for your meals so the company can reimburse you. All okay, bye, buddy. I got up and reached for my coat. Where are you heading? The government still has to be notified about the incident. I'll ask Fred to perform the demo. He began to speak more loudly. I finished the other half of my sandwich and said, then have Fred set it up. I have to get ready to take off. Don't worry, he'll be okay. You'll be there with him, right? Jerry's eyes narrowed just enough for me to notice. I tapped his back a couple times, the way you would a young child, and said, chill out, old man. You should remember enough chemistry from freshman year in high school to do it and make it look good. Remember, if you can't befuddle them with brilliance, then baffle them with BS. I turned and walked out of the office, saying to myself, you got all you need to fertilize their brains. I sneered as I walked by Lisa at her desk, then started to leave the building. I was laughing so hard when I got into my car. If I had been rolling around the parking lot doing it, it wouldn't have looked good. I stopped as soon as I pulled out of the lot so I could quit giggling. I revealed my secret after inhaling deeply a few times. I opened my contacts, located the number I required, and hit the call button. My name is Dale, remember me. I saved your dress by getting that chocolate stain out at the Christmas party. Why yes, Dale, I remember you. I called you Mr. Science the rest of the night. Thank you again for that. So what can I do for you, my boy? Are you calling me to call your marker in while my husband is still at work? She said, laughing that beautiful laugh she had. I knew she was kidding. She and her husband enjoy teasing each other like that. I wore the same dress at our niece's wedding a month later and it looked excellent. Mrs. It's funny that you should bring up your husband, Adler. Would it be okay if I took you both out to supper tonight? Yes, that would be wonderful, she replied. I'll give Harrison a call right now to let him know. Where should our dinner meeting be? At 7. I recall how much you two like seafood at, say, the Amulet Bay. I put my fingers together. That would be perfect. I'll call Harrison and we'll meet you there. She said, thank you for allowing me to wait for you both. I will be there. See you later, I grinned. Until then, sweet boy, thank you before hanging up. After they entered the restaurant and were shown to a private table in the back by the waiter, I got up, shook her husband's hand, and said, Dale, it's good to see you again. I can attest to his mixes accomplishing things Rudolph stated couldn't be done, Mr. Alder replied, winking at me. Are you still mixing it up in your lab? She said, pardon me, sir, but why do you refer to it as my lab? I don't understand, I said, becoming perplexed. It's Harrison from now on, don't call me sir outside the factory. And why should I not call it your lab? I signed the papers for your promotion a couple of years ago. I handed them to Jerry, our CEO, personally. He leaned over to kiss Gabby. You can also call this lovely lady Gabby. He looked from me to Gabby and back again. I've got a bad feeling that you never knew that, did you? The waiters delivered our dinner, and after they uncorked a beautiful bottle of champagne and poured glasses for each of us, we halted. I heard something about a promotion, not that I was trying to eavesdrop. The waiter said, enjoy your meal and don't hesitate to call on me if anything is amiss. This bottle is on the house. So tell me, my son, what has been happening in my business? Harrison didn't have a cheerful appearance. Harrison, there are a lot of things going on, and your CEO is in the thick of things. Is it okay for me to talk freely? Harrison nodded, and I proceeded to tell them everything. Harrison looked over and waved the waiter away, making everything rattle. I had no idea. Please accept my apologies, Dale, he said. So, am I accurate in assuming that you want to sue us on the handbook's moral clause? I will be coming after your CEO with a number of charges, Harrison, but I won't now that I know how you were tricked. I have an idea that will accomplish my goals and prevent the organization from looking foolish. Your wife took part in all of this too. The facts will still surface even if you take her to court. That's what they refer to as being an accessory. Does she work or does she only survive on your labor? Gabby inquired. I saw Harrison cast a sidelong glance at his wife and said, she is up for a seat on the board of Robinson's Fashion. I believe that's where the rich go shopping for clothing nowadays. Then I got up to refill everyone's drinks. I know someone who works there, but you don't say that. If you'd like, I could say a few words to support your cause, Gabby grinned. I think I have a plan, I said, glancing at both of them. An hour later, we were walking out of the restaurant, and Harrison and Gabby were grinning. Dale, you are an extremely bad man. I see that I chose the wrong person to be my company's CEO, he said, laughing out. So, what time should we call on you tomorrow? I'd say around 8 p.m. would do nicely, said I. Oh, Harrison, it's the same as when we were kids and everything was on fire. Come with me home and let's relive some of that. As always, Dale, it's been a joy, grinned Gabby. I learned from the best, Gabby, I said as we shook hands after kissing her hand and nodding to Harrison. Shirley only gave me a blank stare as I went home and started getting ready for the trip. I passed her by without giving her a kiss. I made dinner. Where have you been? With all the alcohol we drank, I really don't think I should eat. I don't want to be sick when I take off tomorrow. I went out and had a few drinks with some buddies at work. Please wait until breakfast if that's okay with you. Which pals? Did Jerry also end up drunk? She questioned sharply. I don't recall seeing Jerry there, so it's possible that he wasn't invited or whatever. I undressed, put on my pajamas, and lay down on the bed, thinking, I better get some sleep. I have an early day tomorrow. Naturally, after Shirley finished getting ready, she entered the bedroom, expecting to find me dozing off, but instead, she turned away and began texting on her phone. Shirley arrived around 30 minutes after I started the coffee. I had woken up early to greet the morning, feeling better than I had in years. Now that you're awake, I can start packing. I turned around and headed upstairs to pack, but in reality, all I did was place the cameras I had previously taken around the guest room and bedroom. I tried not to grin. I poured some fresh coffee for you. It really looks like you could use some, I said. Shirley answered, do you know where we put the little black suitcase? As I descended the stairs once more, I finished placing those cameras everywhere, one at the front door, one at the back door, one across the living room, and the final two in what she called the parlor. She was still checking her phone. I'm only going to be gone a few days and I don't want to take a lot, maybe the front closet. Oh my God, we must have put it in the basement, so off I went down the stairs and picked up the suitcase I put down there earlier. I plugged in a new computer, then turned it on and opened all the files needed to access all the cameras so whatever they caught would stream as well as being sent to a new cloud account I had made. I double-checked everything and then hid the laptop between the floor and the ceiling. I came up the stairs, found it. Shirley jumped so violently that she nearly fell off the chair and her phone slipped on the floor when I yelled at her behind. When I was ready to leave, it was about 2 p.m. I said goodbye to Shirley, but she didn't even move, so I walked over and kissed the top of her head and said, "Bye, see you later." And I'll be damned, there went her phone again. I walked out the door, got into my car, and drove off. I went to a sports bar across town, far from anyone who was involved in this. They served some fantastic double cheeseburgers. I'll have to remember that for later. I switched to the cameras in the bedroom and there they were. I wondered if they knew I put a voice-activated recorder at the headboard of the bed. I didn't have time to hook it up to the streaming, but the tape it had in it should prove to be fun later. After a couple of beers and watching how the customers really get into a soccer game, it was about 5:15 p.m. when I pulled up the streaming coming from my house. I hadn't been gone for 2 hours. After coming home, I quietly opened the front door and slipped inside. I could have blared music on a large boombox and nobody would have known. After about 20 minutes, hardly a sound could be heard from within the room, so I laughed and put my mask back on and peered inside to see how twisted they were. I asked you two a question, and they tried nodding their heads. You two have been having an affair behind my back for 4 years, so it's time I got some payback, don't you think? What do we have here? You can't be making a film because you don't have any cameras set up. I'll give you a hint, I have 9 cameras throughout the house, both upstairs and downstairs. Don't you think that was a good idea? I counted to 6 because she made me wait, and I knew that the marks on their taints would remain there forever. I'm feeling generous, so I'll put the tools away, she said, wiping my prints with Jerry's red silk boxers while laughing uncontrollably. I then slid it into her dresser drawer. Put on my thinking face, I know, let's have a nice old party with family and friends. Well, now that I can't use that, I'll just have to use another means of playing 2 dumb people who so enthusiastically pissed off a chemist and thought he'd never find out, or deliver any consequences. Hello Dale, how's it going with you two? Was Shirley's mother's response when I contacted her parents and put the phone on speaker so she could hear the chat. Not good, Mom. I have to go on a business trip, and Shirley doesn't feel well. Would you please go check on her with Dad? Her phone is not being answered, and I'm concerned. Why sure honey, Dad and I were going to watch some TV, but we'll head over in about 10 minutes, and then we'll call you to let you know how she's getting along, okay? I smiled and said, that would be great. Thank you Mom, just give me a call. Okay, I've got it. I dialed a second number. Who should go next? Hello Samantha, how are you feeling, my love? I would like you to come over. I winked at Jerry and grinned. Jerry's here, but he doesn't look so good. Maybe you could help me with him. She seemed worried and said, okay Dale, just keep him there until I get there. Jerry, you're not worthy of someone like her. It's time she realized she's far too good for people like you. Who will call us next? Well, Shirley has 2 coming over and you only have 1, I said, giving Jerry a pat on the head. I hit another number. I think it's time to balance things up a bit. Mr. How are things going for you and your spouse tonight, Adler? Dale, we're doing great. What can I do to help my department head in chemistry? Harrison inquired. Jerry is over here, and Samantha is on her way over. I realize it's becoming late. Shirley and I therefore decided to throw a little cocktail party at the house with you. Do you want to visit with us? I uttered those words. It's been a long time since my wife and I have done anything similar, so I think we could pull it off. Count us on. We're going to be leaving soon, he remarked. Thank you for coming, Mr. Alder. We're looking forward to seeing you two soon. Give your wife my best. Thanks for the invite, Dale. We'll be there soon, he said. I gave Shirley a direct look and said, isn't this fun? Tonight, all of our boisterous pals are coming around. She was left with nothing to do but lie there and cry. It's 4 years too late to cry now. I know I'm the only one without a date to this prom. We have to change that, don't we? I said, acting as like I had forgotten something. I pressed the final number I intended to dial for the celebration. Greetings, Lisa, my dear, you are the most deserving person I know that I would want to invite to a party that is taking place at my house tonight. Would you kindly confirm that you will be attending? Are you asking me out, Dale? Lisa inquired. Lisa, Jerry and Samantha will be here, as well as the Alder family and both of our parents, but I wouldn't be satisfied until you were here too. What then do you say? You're not pulling my leg or intoxicated, are you? She seemed a little too eager. Honey, I love you too much to treat you that way. For the first time tonight, I sounded serious when I said, this isn't a joke, I'm asking. To be honest, I got your address from HR today. I have time to come get you if you don't want to drive. I am aware, for the previous 6 years, I have had your address. She chuckled and said, you know, I'm your secretary. I'll be at your door in 15 minutes. After then, the call ended. All right, you two, stay put. Lisa beat them by 5 minutes. I thought you said 15 minutes. Then I remembered the new deli 3 streets away, located the number, and gave them a ring. I have to cook up some munchies, real quick like. Do you want me to return home before coming back? She laughed. I embraced her and planted the most intense kiss I had ever given her, saying, let me show you what I've wanted for a couple of years now. Is there another source for that? She was breathing a little more heavily now. I kissed her one more and said, "You'll find out soon enough, sweetness." "What about your wife? I don't think she'll stand still for this," Lisa responded. After a minute of silent laughter, I said, "Let's go ask my soon-to-be ex-wife, but first I have to get something from the basement." I quickly went to the basement, got the laptop, and placed it on the kitchen table. Lisa looked at me as if I were crazy. "No, honey, when I got home, everything was insane." I said as I opened the bedroom door, "Come here in a moment, I've got something to show you." "Now that is ridiculous." After circumnavigating the bed, she knelt to confirm what she had observed. "So how did all of this happen?" I prepared up a few things and went out to eat. When I returned, I knew she and her lover would be having an affair on our bed, and ignited them in the bedroom. They extinguished instantly. I then kept them in their original position for tonight's celebration, sort of like a table centerpiece. I wanted to display the centerpiece of their adultery so that the other guests may also enjoy it since they will be dropping by shortly. Lisa approached Shirley and said, "You are one foolish woman. However, I would like to thank you for discarding Dale, as it allows me to treat him the way he should have been from the start." "Yes, that one foolish, dumb cow. Our visitors should be here shortly, so my dear, we need to head downstairs." I laughed. "We can always come back for another visit. They're not going anywhere. In fact, they will be on display all night long. We have to be good hosts and set out the drinks and snacks for them." Her parents were the first to arrive. Mom questioned why I wasn't on the business trip and why I was home. I couldn't take not knowing, so I blew the trip off and ran back here. I left her upstairs in the bedroom just the way I found her. "You can go up to see her, you and Dad, but I don't think you're going to like what you see." I glanced at her dad. "I'll have the whiskey ready when you come back down. I'll get a glass of wine for Mom as well." Next, Samantha hurriedly approached the door. "Where's Jerry?" "Dale, I have to check on him." "He's upstairs, Sam." I couldn't believe it either, so I left them as I found them. "Them?" she asked before running upstairs. When Mom and Dad walked downstairs, I had already poured their drinks. They were simply staring at me. "I'm sorry, but that was the way I found them when I walked into my own home. Your drinks are on the counter and the snacks are over there as well." However, Samantha took off like an army bombardment. She must know so many foul words, I had no idea. After hearing a crash, I ran to the stairs to check on Sam, but she was already on her way down. "Sorry about the lamp. I knocked it over while I was waving my hands around." "You got any vodka?" "Over here, honey." "Sorry you had to see all of that," I replied. I pulled out a pair of scissors for her and said, "No, Dale, if I hadn't seen it I wouldn't have believed it. Do you have any scissors?" With the saddest eyes, she looked up at me and said, "How about a refill, bartender?" She held up 3 credit cards, cut them all in half, and left them on the table. I took all his cash except 20 and left him with only his car key. "My brothers are coming over to pick me up while the other drives my car back to the house. They're spending the night in case he shows up." Mom came over and said, "She's one screwed up woman for doing this to you. I'm not stupid enough to ask if you could get over this and take her back. I have to leave and think about if I still have a daughter or not. God, Dale, Dad and I are so sorry that our family messed up you and yours. This isn't your fault or your father's." I comforted her while she sobbed on my shirt. Sam's brothers stopped by immediately after Shirley's parents went to fetch her up. My parents arrived next, went upstairs, and when my mother returned a short while later, I gave her a glass of wine. I went up to investigate after hearing a loud noise. Dad left the bedroom and began to rub his right hand. I captured some images for the family website, just in case you need them later. My father then leaned down to say, "Nice touch, son, nice touch," as Mom left. Soon after everyone had left, save for Lisa, the Alders entered the house. We greeted them and they sat down on the couch. "May I offer you both a drink? If you'd like, Gabby, I can get you a good bottle of red." "I think we will wait until after all business has been settled," said Harrison as he rose up. "So Dale, would you like for us to meet your other guests?" Gabby nodded in agreement, smiling at me in a slightly sinister way. "If you both would follow me, I would be happy to introduce the two of you," I said, grinning, as I led them upstairs to the master bedroom. "I would be happy to, Harrison." With everything going on, Harrison was clearly planning to have fun. "Will you look at that, my dear? It seems that I have hired the only CEO in the world who makes house calls," he exclaimed. Harrison said, "Why thank you, Dale, you're a gracious host indeed," as he sat down. "Shall we get down to business? Something smells rather unpleasant in here at the moment." I left and retrieved another chair so Harrison could sit next to his wife. "Yes, dear, that would be nice. I do smell a touch of the sewer in here, now that you mention it," Gabby said with a smile. Harrison cleared his throat before starting, then took out a small stack of papers from his jacket pocket. "Jerry Mathers, the company has evidence of your embezzlement and misappropriation of funds, which you withheld information from one Dale for 2 years. You had it routed to an offshore bank account. Said account has been frozen and the money is on its way back to the States. You also withheld the promotion information from him while you stole it from him. The board of the company sees that as theft and embezzlement from not only Mr. Farmer but the company as well. Both sets of charges have been filed in both federal and civil courts. The board sees this as grounds for termination. The board and I are very disappointed in you and your management skills, so don't look for a letter of recommendation. I have one more item of information that I shall leave you with. The so-called golden parachute has been withdrawn by the board and is to be given to A. Sorry, I had the paper right here. Here it is. It will be given to your replacement, Mr. Dale Farmer. Gabby, you have the floor now. We have one last item of business to take care of. He gestured to his spouse. When I turned to face Gabby in confusion, all I received in return was a seductive wink. Then she turned to face Shirley and said, I know you don't know me, so let me introduce myself. My name is Abigail Alders. Does the name ring any bells? Are you sure that you are soon to be sitting on the board of Robinson's Fashion? Shirley could only shake her head slightly, but not enough to be able to respond to any yes, no questions. I believe we have talked Jerry's ears off, so I will turn my attention to your soon-to-be ex-wife, Dale. In the business world, I am referred to as the owner of Robinson's Fashions. Is that clear enough now? Gabby exhaled deeply. Shirley looked like she was about to lose her eyes. Not even I knew. After hearing of your trysts with Jerry here, I had my people look through every dealings you had with my company. They're a very thorough group of people, that's why I hired them. I'll bet you thought you were being sly, didn't you? It did take a while, but they found your 0.25% that you'd set up to make it look like an ordinary tax and attached it to every purchase after you were made manager of your first department with my company so very long ago. My people have found 2 overseas accounts, one in your maiden name and one in your twin sister's name who passed 19 years ago. But you made 2 fatal mistakes. You see, I started Robinson's Fashions on my own. I wouldn't even accept any money from my husband or anyone else. I wanted to prove to myself that I could. I know it's a foreign concept to you, but I made it and I protected viciously. So I know you'll understand when I tell you that because the courts aren't open today, I've had my lawyers go to work. You messed with what's mine. I turned to Harrison, raised my finger pointing down the hall, and began to open my mouth. Harrison held up both hands and shook his head as he followed Gabby downstairs without saying anything about it. I gave up trying to figure it out. The only thing I could think of was, you better not mess with what's Gabby's. If it's all the same to you, Dale, I believe I would like that drink now, and walked past us on the way downstairs. After coming downstairs, we asked, what is everyone drinking? I inquired. Gabby replied, I'll have a bourbon, and I think Harrison wants the same, to which Harrison simply shook his head. Lisa and I each ordered a double whiskey, and we made an effort to stay away from Gabby. Oh, come on, everyone. I apologize if my dark side showed, but the sum of money we were discussing was about $2 million. That really gets to me personally. What we need to do is figure out how we're going to handle this storm, Harrison stated. We have to be careful to not come out of this covered in the same crap as those 2 upstairs. Don't worry, I replied. I'll play the scapegoat for all of this. Lisa came up and said, I'm not about to let you stand alone, Dale. You might as well face it. We're a couple now. If you're so blind that you can't see that, I'll take you out back and beat you until you do. Gabby nodded, turning to face her husband. Harrison shook my hand and added, you're probably going to come out of all this covered in crap, you know that, right? I hugged Gabby, and she hugged me back, whispering, you better not lose her, Dale. She moved to face Harrison, who was waiting by the door. We nodded when she urged us to call them if we ever needed anything. Everyone still had an anxious expression. Look, my friends, I got this. Hell, I even have a half-baked plan in my head already, so don't look so down, okay? I laughed at them all. Harrison and Gabby grinned and bid each other goodbye. I turned to Lisa and asked, can you drive? She gave me a confused look before nodding. Great. I need you to go to the store and buy me a burner phone. Make sure you cover your face so no one can tell what you look like, okay? Lisa grinned. What have you got up your sleeve, lover? My thoughts were racing 100 miles per hour. Get a move on, please. After I do what I have to do, I'm spending the night at your place. Is that all right with you? Lisa blurted out, going to the store just as I was about to wrap up, and she was gone, walking down the street. To make sure I was prepared to perform what needed to be done, I stood motionless for a minute. I went upstairs and entered the sleeping quarters. I opened the closet and discovered the bulky suitcases we use on vacation. I named it the Time Collection, you know, the kind that takes a licking and keeps on ticking. I pulled it up and asked, could you hold this for a minute? Before dropping it back down on top of them in a high arch. I slammed the suitcase lid shut after packing everything, and that's when I realized how much anguish they had given me. I got up from the bed and closed the suitcase by sitting on it. After that, I pulled it off them and saw that some lovely new bruises were beginning to appear. All right, it appears that I have everything I need packed up. I mimicked Grandma's gesture of reaching down and giving her a cheek pinch. All right, you two play nice, and if you've been good, I'll bring you both back some new orange jumpsuits. You'll love them so much that that's all you will want to wear all the time. After going downstairs and getting myself a drink, Lisa came back after a short while. Are you ready? It's almost showtime, I asked Lisa, and she simply nodded. After placing all the evidence back in the bag, I turned on the new phone. Then I put in a call to every local newspaper and news station. We sat down and waited to see who would arrive first. The cops came first, followed by the news crews, and then the feds, which we found amusing since the federal offices were the closest of all. I laid down on the couch, then had Lisa grab the baseball bat from the closet. My name is Lisa, and I stopped over to check on him following his vacation. When I got to him, he was hardly able to walk after the man had forced him out into the front yard and pushed him down onto the concrete porch. I see, the officer continued, turning to face me. You told the desk sergeant that 3 pals from college came over to assist you. Sometimes I help students out with their class projects, like my neighbor's child. I informed the policeman. Okay, would you please tell me their names? While jotting down some notes, the officer inquired. I'm sorry, but I can't. As you can see, they asked me to keep their names out of this because they are about to graduate. 2 of them are pursuing master's degrees, and the other 4 have employment already, and they don't want anything to interfere with their future. I apologized and promised them I would honor their desires. I shifted slightly on the couch. Lisa, could you kindly go to the bathroom? There are some Advil in the cabinet. Would you bring me a couple? Lisa had to have an officer accompany her when she walked upstairs. I'll just take the bottle downstairs so I won't have to bother all of you again. Would that be all right? The officer responded. With a simple nod, he trailed her back to the stairs. After returning downstairs, she proceeded to the couch, placed 2 pills in my hand, and went to get a drink of water in the kitchen. People having to roll them out in front of the sizable group that had assembled outside my house made me smile. As they wheeled them out and attempted to figure out the best way to get them into the ambulances, the lights for the television teams and the flashes from the reporters went nonstop. Agent, considering everything that has transpired, her being my spouse and him being my superior, as well as the fact that they were apprehended in my residence and that I was the one who summoned the law enforcement officials in attendance, will I still be eligible to receive the reward that was mentioned on the television news for their capture? Harrison wanted to make my promotion appear nice, so he held off on announcing it for a week. There was nothing wrong with them following through with Shirley and Jerry receiving divorce papers served to them as they awaited trial. I had wanted to speak with her one last time, but she told the guards no, when they informed her that I was present. When my wife Lisa and I brought our son Dale Harrison Farmer into the world a year later, I sent Shirley a photo of the 4 of us. They informed me that when she got angry and fought the guard who gave it to her, Shirley burned the photo and my letter and retreated into seclusion. My comment, I cannot tell if this story was real or not, but a revenge story is one I have not went over in a while. Hope you guys liked it. Comment down below, sub and bell, and I will catch you in the next one.